Good morning, everyone. Today is the 12th of June, and it's Wednesday afternoon. Well, actually, it's around noon. Mark is going to be reading in the 3rd chapter of Genesis today. This 3rd chapter describes the serpent as being more subtle than any other beast that God had created. So God created the subtle beast. So if we look at the definition of subtlety, we can find that it is deceitful, someone who's an adversary, someone who is elusive, deceptive, sly, cunning, crafty. And then there'll be those that say, well, God didn't create non-elect angels. Well, he created the serpent. The Bible says the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And immediately the serpent started putting questions in Eve's mind, saying, hath God said? And also, God told Adam and Eve in the day that they eat of it, they would surely die. And the serpent said, you shall not surely die. So the devil was a liar. He was a liar. And he went beyond lying. He said that, in fact, if they did what God said they shouldn't do, that would make them like God. And she bought into the lie, thinking that would make her wise, and she ate of it, and we know what the result of that was. And then Adam, of course, blamed Eve. But Adam was just as guilty because he bought into the lie of the serpent as well. And, of course, the serpent, God cursed above all cattle and every beast of the field, and said, on thy belly shalt thou go, dust shalt thou eat. And he told the serpent, I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. And again, as a result of this disobedience, there was a curse that came upon all the earth, including thorns and thistles, and the fact that we have to eat by the sweat of the face, sweat of thy face thou shalt eat, and till the ground. So the Lord cast Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden. And he drove man out, and placed him at the east of the Garden of Eden, an angel, a cherubim, with a flaming sword, to keep people out of the garden. So I'm going to turn this over to Mark and have him read this to you. This is the account of the fall of man and the placing of the most subtle one of God's creation, the serpent in the Garden of Eden.
Genesis chapter 3. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, You shall not eat of every tree of the garden? The woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. The fruit of the tree which is amidst the garden, God hath said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw the tree was good for food, it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband, and he did eat. The eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons. They heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden of the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves in the presence of the Lord amongst the trees of the garden. The Lord God called unto Adam, and said unto him, Where art thou? He said, I heard thy voice in the garden, I was afraid, because I was naked, I hid myself. He said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. The Lord God said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? The woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. The Lord said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Above thy belly shalt thou go, and thus shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I'll put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. And to the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring 4 children, and thy desire to be thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it, curses the ground for thy sake, and sorrows shalt thou eat of all the days of thy life. Thou thorns also and thistles shalt bring forth for thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it wast thou taken. For dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return. And Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Unto Adam also and to his wife the Lord God make coats of skin, and clothe them. And the Lord God said, Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil, and now lest he put forth his hand. Take also the tree of life, and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground, for whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims, and a flaming sword was turned every way to keep away the tree of life.
Okay, well, thank you, Mark. We'll continue this tomorrow, Thursday. We'll be ready for the 4th chapter tomorrow. God bless.